Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Apex Coalition Show. Another one of your daily installments that we do every day. Um, I'm joined right now. Well, we're going to have esteemed panelists join us from far and wide, but right now we are. It is me and Mr. Lippy. Do you have anything you'd like to say to the people to get us started today?
Has been on a rampage of rudeness and volatility and just being vile to us the last couple of weeks. And I'm just happy to be here fighting against the tyranny that is Curn.
That's good, because that's how tyranny wins. The bad guys win if we stop fighting them. And luckily, the good news is Curran's team is terrible, so he's a very beatable villain. Um, just gonna start looking at the standings. Just the lay of the land. Let's go over who's a dud. It doesn't matter anymore. Well, we'll start with me. Out of it, dud. Are you ready to call Jack dud at 2-7?
I think it's very fair to call Jack done.
Do you think
Ultimately, I think
Jack would say Jack's dud?
without a doubt,
Yeah,
he's a reasonable mad
smart guy.
man.
Yeah,
Like I've been saying, about 10 wins is pretty much a guarantee for playoffs. 9 wins, you're probably going to need to win a tiebreaker over somebody.
and eight's really
Uh,
hard.
And so since he has 7 losses already, the most he can have is 8 wins.
Yeah, so probably not
So
gonna
he'd
happen
need an
with yeah.
utter miracle to make the playoffs.
Yeah, winning out and then a lot of dominoes to go the right way. So probably done. Hunter, 2-7 as well. You ready to call him done?
I'm ready to call Hunter done, but I do have it on good authority. Hunter is ready to fight.
Okay. Well, I mean that's good.
Him and I made a lunch bet for their game this week.
Oh, okay.
So the man, even with one win, 2 wins.
He's at two. I'm the only one that has win and not wins.
So ultimately, our few potential people who have 1 and 2 wins in the league,
Yeah,
they all want to mess people's seasons up. They're not here to just
that's
roll over and
correct.
die.
That's correct.
We love to see that. Helps the competitiveness of Apex.
Yeah,
Very happy for it.
yeah. But so shout out Jack and Hunter. Uh, Way to keep on fighting, and no one's tanking. Uh, and I think it speaks to the integrity of the individuals at the bottom of the shit barrel. Uh, Gentlemen, stand strong. Now I'm looking, but we'll get into matchups in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. I was going to say Hunter might want to fight, but he might not be able to. Let's look at kind of people in the middle because it's Jack, Hunter, and I. I mean, we're collecting losses like they're golden doubloons. So really, after you go through us, it's really kind of the middle ground of everyone lumped together. Um, you know,
So like you got Timo there at 4 wins. He's already got 5 losses, so he can really take one more loss. If he wins out, he's probably in. If he loses one more game, it comes to a tiebreak. But with that points four of his, which is I think last in the league,
I believe it is.
he's
Yeah,
he's probably not going to do too much.
yeah, but okay. So he's definitely at the bottom of that next layer. But I would say he is. Just I mean, he's got 4 times the wins I do, so he's very much still in contention. Um, yeah, even though he is probably noticeably the biggest long shot, both in terms of points and in terms of record. I think he's the only 4-win team he is. So let's get to the 5 and 4s. There's a lot of them. We've got Neil at 5-4. We have Jonah. We have Dustin at 5-4. And we have one Matthew Lippin at 5-4. Now, Lippin, I know you're not biased, so who of those 5-4s are you giving the best odds to make it to playoffs?
Ah, I obviously love to say myself. We love controlling our own destiny here.
Yeah.
So we like our odds. We do. We also can confidently say we like Jonah's odds. He's got nice points for. He's got real nice points for
Yeah.
there. Um, what is he at? 961, which I want to say is second to K Cole. But
Yes.
ultimately, he can get caught by Neil or myself in a good week.
Right. Right.
So
Agreed.
he kind of like all of them. Just comes down to schedule at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and we all have tough schedules.
Yep.
Jonah kind of accepting a loss this week, and we'll get to the trade in a little bit that kind of secures that loss.
Which is very
Um,
important for you in the other 5 and 4s.
yes, I think that's very important. Granted, so if we close that gap and he obviously loses, he's a game back with not much to do.
Right. Because,
Um,
that's in part because there's a lot of really strong 5 and 4 teams, but at the same time, there are 4 teams ahead of y'all that are at 6 wins or more. You've got Bonstar at 7-2. You've got Curn and Golly both at 6 wins, and you have Cole leading in points for at 6 wins too. Let me ask you this: who's your pick of those to drop out of the top 4?
wow, that's a good question, sir.
Because in
That's a
order
good
for any of
question.
those really solid 5-4 teams, one of those teams has to make a slip, right? Because otherwise, those are the boys.
Absolutely. You got to take a good look at the schedule, sir. It's an absolute just beatdown that's coming in the schedule. K. Cole has myself. Bevo's team is 928. He's what, fourth or fifth in points for. So Bevo's got my. It's just an absolute beatdown of a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Um, ultimately, and I know Monstar would not like to admit this, he's in a tough spot if he loses this week. With his point four situation being behind all of us at 5 and 4 besides Dustin,
Yeah.
he loses this week. He's one loss away from being in seventh place.
Now, that 7 win, being the team at 7 wins, that's a beautiful buffer for him, though.
I
It really
I
is.
agree. My only year missing the playoffs, sir, was a devastating year. I was on top of the world in 2019,
Yeah.
or it might have been 2020. I was 7-2, and I
Mm,
finished the year 7-7.
mm, mm.
Absolute devastating end of the year.
That's not how you want it to end, certainly.
His points for is very scary. If he was up in the 970s, he'd be essentially 3 games clear of some of us, but he's not, which is not good for him. It's tough. He's got a big matchup against Neil this week.
Yeah.
Could essentially eliminate Neil with a bad performance from Neil,
Hmm.
or he could get to 8 wins, which would put him 2 away from the playoffs.
Now, let me ask you this: 6 win team with not only 60 less points than Monstar, somehow, someway less points than me. Golly's at 6-3 with a rather alarming 830 points for. What are your thoughts? I mean, Golly's at 6-3 with that. Dustin's at 5-4 with kind of the same point situation.
Yeah, Dustin's kind of in the spot where he could win out, which would be interesting. Let's take a look at Golly's schedule. Let's take a look because he has passed most of his buys.
He's gonna
He obviously has
he has a tough
Devonta
matchup
this week,
this week.
but he could if he gets Connor and Monty back. That's gigantic.
Yeah.
Without Goddard, you and I were talking earlier. He's got Dusty this week, then you, then
Mhm.
Hunter. If he goes 3-0, he's at 9 wins and just needs to win one out of the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But he does have 3 playoff teams there,
Yep.
so he could theoretically be 9-3 there and lose out
Hmm.
because he has Curn, Monstar, Neil. Curn will have J Jets back at that point. You think?
Yep. You would.
What else do we got here? Monstar. I mean, he's 7-1. I mean, his points for says a different story, but one of them's got to win, and then Neil week 15. You could have a very devastated Jihad.
Yeah. You really could. It could be very sad for old Golly.
So he really needs to get to that. He needs to win out the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
If he does that, he's in a. I mean, he just needs to go get one win there.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting spot. If he loses one of these next 3 weeks, he's probably out.
Just because I don't think there's a tiebreaker that he will win with the
No,
teams that are left. So
and he would need to go 2-3 in those last 3 games, which is it's doable, obviously, and possible, but
but
it's gonna
he
happen.
would much prefer to not have to do that.
Absolutely,
We of course arrive at the worst team of all. That is Kurds.
the devil.
The unfortunate thing is he does have a, a pretty decent points for. He's at 936. He will be getting Jefferson back. Um, The
Not
Al,
this week, but possibly next. They're saying.
yeah, yeah. Um, you know the question is, how does this team score points? I don't think anyone has any answers for that. The
Got the
main,
same gauntlet that essentially Golly has, though. He's got
yes,
Golly, obviously. He also has
hmm
Neil. He has Monstar,
hmm
and then he has you and two others.
yeah,
So he's got the same kind of dilemma there Golly has.
yeah. I mean, the thing is he's got the bit of an advantage that over the 5 and 4 teams, he does have a win that he's got a bit of a pad over y'all, and he does have a good points for. Somehow, some way, his band of misfit morons has somehow put up points. He'll send gifts of the IHOP in no time at all, but the stack works, and the stack is proving very effective for him. Um, but you just look at this team and you're like, how is it winning? How what is this? What's going on here? Um, it shouldn't be good. I mean,
Uh,
it's just awful.
like we said, the last three teams we talked about, Monstar, Golly, and now Curn, they all have Neil.
hmm
It is a very interesting situation there for Neil. If he somehow wins, he's obviously going to be beating some playoff teams.
hmm Because Neil's practically the exact same points for than Curran. Had a tougher schedule. He's almost got 100 more points against.
He's got the
Uh,
same. So Neil controls his own destiny in terms of beating Curn since he plays him.
yeah, exactly. So he can he can
Wow.
he can flip that. So that's a really, if Curran were to take anything away from this, that's probably one of his most important matchups. He simply must beat Neil. Um,
Just staying on the topic of matchups,
mhm,
I played Jonah week 15.
okay.
I was talking with Jonah earlier. Obviously, we have some trades to go over. That might just be for a playoff spot right there.
Yeah.
Loser gets knocked out. Honestly,
Yeah.
uh, we'll obviously see what happens over the next 5 weeks, but that's gonna be a big matchup there.
Well, you do have to worry because he does have Noah Brown. Um,
Noah Brown is gonna put up 24 a week. I've heard.
um, moving on to our points for leader, we have Kevin Cole, and he was leading in points for, and I actually don't believe since week 2 there's been another points for leader. I believe he
The
has.
man's been on an absolute tear.
Yeah. So he's at 6-3, tied for the second best record in terms of wins. He's got a points for tiebreaker that you would assume will hold throughout. So he just has to stay steady Eddie with the wins, with the 4 seed, and he will be able to make it into the playoffs. And it doesn't really look like this team is going to have problems. He's got Jalen Hurts on bye this week, but the rest of his
It's a
team's fine.
big matchup this week versus Neil.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and
it's a
then
big
after
matchup for
that,
both of them.
he goes Neil, me, Jonah, Bevo. That's Bevo is 2-7, but he's fourth in points for. He's not having a terrible year. That's tough 4 games there for him.
Yeah,
And then he does have Timo and Dustin, who both have 4 and 5 wins respectively.
right, right.
Ultimately, Keiko, I do think has some concerns. The Saquon high ankle sprain, him saying that it's going to linger with him for the whole season. The fact Waller's on IR. The fact Danny Dimes is dead. That is scary for Saquon. If he re-aggravates that at all, is he gonna? Are they gonna just shut him down?
I don't know. It certainly gets a lot uglier, but to be completely honest, I mean, I don't know if this team necessarily needs Saquon. It's got a lot of different outlets where it can pop off and explode. Uh,
So Keenan, Sun God, and obviously Laporte God. That's nice. Same with Hurts.
mhm,
But the running backs, I have concerns there. You have Walker. I'm a big Walker guy.
yeah,
But nonetheless, sir, Walker might be in some trouble.
I
He's
think he
not.
very well could be. Uh, I think the Charbonnet emergence might be happening before our very eyeballs.
So, as someone who's lost to Keiko twice, part of the problem with facing Keiko is you're facing Ken Walker, and all of a sudden that man has 15 carries and 2 touchdowns against you in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And if he loses that upside from Walker, loses that upside from Saquon because the Giants suck ass with Tommy DeVito,
Hmm.
that hurts that ceiling that's kind of made him so devastating in our points for leader.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be heavy, like, really. This team will go as the Lions do. It seems like
That is fair.
because he's got a pretty steady floor. I was just looking at Ayuk. Wide receiver 22. There's nothing super crazy outside of that first week that he had, but other
Oh,
than that, just
Ayuk's pretty nice. I mean
very
that's a
steady,
nice. Yep,
reliable.
absolutely.
Yeah, you know what's
The
going to
only
happen every
bad
week
part.
there.
What do you got? What's going to happen, sir?
Well, I'm just thinking, uh, it would almost be a shame for this team to trip up now, uh, just because it really has kind of gone the distance this season. But you bring up very good points. That the Giants are fucking bad without Daniel
It's a
Jones.
scary. That's a scary situation. If I had Saquon, I would be. Let's go through kind of the top projected running backs for this week, sir.
Yeah,
What do we got here? Projections, week 10. Obviously, you have some bye weeks. CMC, obviously, let's go down. Kamara, obviously, you want over Saquon. David Montgomery,
I mean
I'd
that
want
that
him over Saquon for the rest of the season.
I would
I
too.
understand that
But I think there's the chance, that it's not going to be the as much of the Montgomery show now. Now that
but
I mean, Gibbs
I
is
don't
starting
care.
to emerge.
I wouldn't want Saquon over him.
Okay, that's true. It's almost
I mean,
immaterial. Yeah,
let's
yeah.
let's hop down a little bit. Derrick Henry, that's a tough one. I think I'd still take Derrick Henry over Saquon.
I would easily take Derrick Henry over Saquon.
Let's drop down a little more. I mean, I'll skip over Javante and Aaron Jones because I'm very biased. Josh Jacobs,
Um, that's tough.
I'd give me Jacobs over Saquon. Curn, I'm glad you just joined us. We're just talking about K. Cole squad. I
Okay.
have some concerns over the running backs right now, and I would be pivoting if I was him. He's not a pivoter, obviously. Um, but ultimately,
No, he's not.
I do have some concerns over the fact those running backs have kind of helped them out a lot. And Saquon and Ken Walker, why they are studs, I'm very scared about them right now. If I was him,
I'd agree. I think I'm trying to sell Ken Walker in a few dynasty leagues right now as a competitor, and that playoff schedule is not very, and makes me feel warm and fuzzy. And my boy Zach Chardonnay, while not super effective, is super relevant. And
like I was saying to him, part of what made Ken Walker so scary is the fact you just knew he was going to get everything there for a while, and
yes, and the offense is
him not getting there and just getting those 15, 20 carries and all the goodies is just it isn't what you
also
want.
it also appears now that Geno Smith and Seattle have all turned into kind of pumpkins. That offense looks tough. It is a tough scene to watch. I own lots of miscellaneous JSN stonks in lots of dynasty leagues, so sometimes on red zone I'll like pivot over and like watch really detailed when Seattle's got the ball. And it is just that dude. I don't know what happened to Geno Smith. It is not looking good. That dude blows.
Yeah, it's been not a great passing attack in Seattle this year.
So if you have the 1A on a really shitty offense with a bad quarterback and the other guy's kind of taking all the passing work and is sometimes outsnapping you, the question becomes A&F is what's the difference between Ken Walker and Najee Harris?
I mean,
I mean,
you could very well argue they're increasingly becoming similar players, but I mean, Kurt, I know you're a Najee manager, but I would still have Ken Walker over Najee. No
oh,
offense.
oh, certainly,
That'd be
certainly,
fair.
Um,
certainly, but just the to Lippy's point, like he's viewed as this like top 10 stud, lock him in every week. He's going to get 15 touchdowns, you know. But it's yeah. Overall, I agree. Very, very
yeah,
not not the most warm and fuzzy situation.
Yeah,
I'm not loving the vibes there.
Not at
Curn,
all.
Curn, let me walk you through the scenario I just had Lippy go through. There's two that I want to give you, and if you need me to repeat anything, just let me know. But I'm going to walk you through the four teams that are at 5 wins, and all I'm going to, you can break it down as much or as little as you want to. But I was wanting to know your thoughts on which of those 5 win teams or multiple are able to push through and make playoffs, and which do you think are unfortunately going to miss? So those 5 and 4 teams, we've got Lippy at 5 and 4. We have
Rah.
Jonah at 5 and 4. We have Dustin at 5 and 4, and we have Neil at 5 and 4. So I'd love your thoughts on which of those you think will be able to push through the current top four, which you are of course a part of, and which aren't going to make it.
So I think, well, yeah, he just got Kittle, and we know Kittle's not most prime, but getting Justin Fields back potentially healthy, and with the running backs that are breaking out on his team now, and I think Neil's got a very juicy squad. The unfortunate thing is he's 2 games behind Mr. Monstar, so it's kind of a
If you've
tough
seen
hill to
Neil's
climb.
schedule, it's an absolute hell of a schedule. He obviously has Monstar. He has K. Cole, U, Monstar the next 3 weeks, and a Jihad week 15.
Yes, and he also has players that he has a lot of week 11 buys and I guess week 10 buy doesn't really matter with Goddard being hurt. Yeah, he's got a really big week 11 buy, so that's
He's
not
got a
looking too
big
good for
week.
him.
He's got a big week 10 here versus K. Cole. If he needs to win this week badly.
Yes, and Monstar needs to pump on the brakes, but I like that squad a whole lot. I think Lippy's got a good situation going on. I think he's a game behind K. Cole, but he's also around 60 points behind K. Cole as well, so you could call it like a game and a half. So K. Cole, I mean, he's to Lippy's point, the running backs aren't looking as warm and fuzzy, but I mean, he still has a very solid wide receiver and tight end core in Jalen Hurts, which can just break fantasy every week. So
End of day,
um,
Kern. Ultimately, K. Cole has Neil this week. He loses to Neil this week. Him and I are tied. And then I face K. Cole next week. So if I beat K. Cole next week, I'm a game up on K. Cole.
hinge game, big hinge
Absolute
week next week.
wild games we
You,
got
it,
incoming.
it,
Everyone
you,
just got
yeah, I was
gauntlet
going
of
to say
schedules.
you'd be able to say that some seasons are on the line here.
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, the biggest question mark is Jonah and God. The fuck your own ass division is actually very live because all those
Yep.
teams are
Yeah.
pretty comparable. I think Timo had a very tough loss this week, but I mean,
Points for situation for Timo is. We were saying earlier, like I was talking to Jack a week or so ago, 10 wins is pretty much a lock for the playoffs, probably. It's never missed before. Obviously, we have the extra week. 9 wins, that's going to be close. Maybe the 4 seed will have 9 wins and win a tiebreaker. We could get everyone at 10 wins. It's going to be close. With as many squads at 6-3 as we have, that'd be 2 more losses over 5 weeks. So we're probably going to be looking at 1 9-win squad making the playoffs and 2 10 wins with an 11 win.
yeah,
So we'll add.
I think Jonah's team's the best to make the playoffs in that division. Just given the star power he has in his starting lineup, so those guys all stay healthy, he's gonna be a problem. I mean, I know we talked about Mahomes maybe not being in the elite tier, but just given the fact that it's Mahomes and fantasy aside, he's the greatest football player on the planet right now. I think he has every
I can
potential
say
to
it all I want. Mahomes is
he
still
plays.
awesome.
I mean, he plays Philadelphia after his bye week, and it's like I feel like you have 2 really tough matchups, like 2 tough, like one decent win and one like embarrassing loss to Denver. You get a bye week, and you come out against like Philly, like that could be just. I mean, I could see Mahomes throwing for 5 touchdowns easily. Will it happen? Who knows? But
Yeah, that's
I
going to be a
think
nice Sunday Night
I think
Football.
Mahomes. I think Mahomes and Tyreek and AJ Brown and CMC, like just those 4 players alone can. I mean, that's like 120 points just from those players alone any given week, and
And
so
he has Noah
he's
Brown.
he's probably he's also
And
got Noah
Janu.
Brown, as we
Yeah.
know is just
Janu every week,
those
Kern. I
guys
don't know if you know,
all.
but he gets goal line carries now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just plug him in now. I mean, he's a weekly starter. I should trade Kincaid and commit for him. Oh, he's where it's at. So yeah, I mean, I think Jihad and I have this weird song and swan dance that's going to occur over the next few weeks. I still believe my team overall is better, but I mean, I think just I mean,
But
what he's been able to do with his schedule is just you just have to do a standing ovation for it. I mean, I just think that's one of those things where it's just written in the Sunday enough that like I just think that the higher powers are just going to force him into it, and it's gonna break the league if Jihad gets in the playoffs and he's the 10th highest scorer. I'm just the amount of math that's gonna hit the fucking lobby this offseason is gonna be so. I'll be very
Um,
salty, but I think it's gonna be really funny.
you have. I mean, so let's look at Jonah's schedule. He has Alexander this week. He's essentially accepting a loss against Alexander. I know Alexander will say he doesn't win too often.
I,
But
not only do I
that's
not win
bold of
too often, I don't win twice.
if Jonah just accepting a loss when he's sitting here at 5 wins, he could get caught up in points for very quickly, especially with his roster this week. I understand why he did it. It was a
Oh, for
no-brainer
sure.
trade this morning. But then he's got Timo, K. Cole, Dustin, Jack, me. He does not have just a cakewalk of a schedule. So we'll obviously see how it goes,
No,
but
not at all.
it's gonna be very interesting to see how it ends for Jonah.
It is. The 5 and 4 teams might be the most interesting to watch, just because of how kind of intertwined they are, not only with their own division, but with what the other 5 and 4 teams and what the current top 4 teams are doing. Current, I know you were just talking about, your current tied record with Golly. You both are sitting at 6and 3 with K Cole, who's also at 6and 3 with the most points for, and then Monstars at 7and 2. You know, you're obviously going to be a little bit biased, but which of those teams do you think everyone's able to hold their current lead, or do you think someone's going to get left behind? Do you think G Fraud, as you have referred to him publicly, is going to be able to keep it in to the playoffs, or we've seen Golly and Monstar are the two that currently stand out. They've gotten plenty of wins. Their teams performed. They've done that. All you're expected to do is to win your weeks, and that's what they've done. But they are a little bit of outliers when it comes to the points for category for the rest of y'all, especially compared to K. Cole, who's at 978 points for, and Golly's at 839. I was wondering, what are your thoughts on those top 4 right now, Karen? Those top 4, including you, of course.
I think we're
Playoffs
going to have a new. I think we're gonna have a new playoff berth from Monstar. I think he's got enough push now where it's hard in week 10 to crawl back. I mean, Neil's got the points on him,
Yeah.
but Monstar's team, as much as I hate to admit it, he's got a second half of the season squad like Derrick Henry with a shitty Titans team with a new quarterback that they're going to want to protect. I think is going to just, I mean, as he always does in the second half of the season, I think just be pushed upon, and he's going to be just a nuisance every week to face. And
And
like he's going to
and
play Houston a couple times, and it's going to be just like awful. So that's going
and
to be
he's got
happening.
he's got
Alexander
Kamara, who's
Madison,
just lit the world on fire after his suspension.
I don't know if you've seen
yeah,
Kamara's snap share this last week. It was a little concerning.
yes, he is losing. He's losing touches to Taysom Hill savagely.
No,
It's
it was
strange, but
Jamal, sir.
it's like all of them. All of them are just getting like behind the fucking like just open spread. Like all the packages that they're playing in and out of. Like Kamara comes off the field, so guys like Jamal and Taysom and these other random fucking clowns can come in and do trick plays. It's what we enjoy to do. It keeps us engaged. People wear Taysom jerseys everywhere,
Right.
but I think that
Helps with the cap. Yeah.
Kamara's still awesome. And fucking Alexander Madison now owns that backfield, and
You don't have to worry
you
about
could say the
Akers
Dobbs
anymore.
thing. You could say that the whole Dobbs thing is a facade, but I'm glowing expectations if he's going to come in the way he did. That is such a underrated performance. I don't think it's underrated. I think he's getting enough attention for it, but like that's so hard to like land on a plane, not even shake hands with like half your team, and then you just go
He
out
didn't
there
even
and
know
like
all their
he was
names.
practicing.
Yeah.
No, he was practicing snap count cadence on the sidelines
Yeah,
and like just getting to know his center. Like
yeah,
it's fucking crazy. And for him to do that, and be able to like show competency, I think Madison's now in a relatively decent offense now. And
no, what
yeah,
and I completely
Monster's gonna
agree.
make it.
What are your thoughts on Addison going forward? Because he's been, borderline incredible for a rookie. Um, do you think that continues? If not, where do you think he ends up?
I think as long as my boy is out, I think he's fine to start. I think he's going to be a dope weekly wide receiver too,
Okay,
floor, just
okay,
because I think Dobbs is competent. I think that he is immediately ready. I mean, when you bring Justin Jefferson back, I mean, you're fighting for a playoff spot. For some reason, they want to still make the fucking playoffs. Kudos to them. They're pushing for it.
yeah. I mean, it's
I
the
think he's going to
NFC.
get his yeah, he's going to get his 30% target share, and that's just going to affect everybody. So, I mean, at that point, he's more of like a wide receiver 3 with upside, but I
Yeah,
think he still has a role. But what really stands out to him is he had a bad game, but I think Herbert's awesome. I think Henry's going to be great. I think
yep.
Madison's going to be great. Evan Ingram's great. He's got
The, the
Kamara, and
the
then
running
he's
back
got like
situation is very good in Monster Town. Very,
he's
very
got this
good.
Okay,
Bitcoin.
okay,
He's got
okay.
this Bitcoin
Let's.
and Devon A chain
It
just sitting
doesn't
there.
matter though, Kern. Yes, sure, he has Devon Achan. He's got Bevo this week. If he loses this week, he's not making the playoffs. I'll say it. He has Bevo this week. Then week 11, he has no Kamara against Hunter. And then he's got Neil Alexander week 13 when he doesn't have Madison and Addison. And then he's
Now,
But
got
he can just plug one of those guys.
And then he's got Golly U to
here,
end the year.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Monstar is not like that far off in the points for conversation from everybody.
He's got
Obviously
all his bye weeks still though.
he is a little bit behind, but also like this hurts to say, you're you're putting up possible losses in Monstar's loss column against me and Hunter. We currently
Well,
combined for 3 wins. I mean, that is not a fearsome foe set of competition that he's got to get through.
when you're talking about eating bye weeks against teams that don't have bye weeks, though, I don't care how many wins they have. That's a
Yeah,
bold strategy to try and make the playoffs. Like I said earlier, I was 7-2
I
once and
think
missed the playoffs. It happens.
yeah,
he still has enough depth at the
He does
running
have the
back to
depth.
always have like he's got 3 like every week going forward he'll have Herbert and 3 really solid running backs and Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. He'll have that every single week. And he'll have to worry about the Addison bye week and I guess now he's got the Cortland Sutton bye week after him after this week, but I don't think it's gonna be much of a
30
challenge
yards a
for him too
game.
much. I mean, yeah, I mean, but when you have all those other players, it doesn't really matter. It's like just like as long as that guy doesn't bust. I don't know. I, if I was putting money on anybody to for sure out of this group A&F to lock it in, I would. I mean, I'd put my chips on Monstar, just given the lead, the team that he has, the depth he has at running back to keep his flex spot always filled during bye weeks,
yeah.
and the quarterback that at any given time can be elite. So that's my thought there. And then for the rest of us. We talked about Kate Cole and Lippy. Yeah, the real drama is gonna be me and Jihad. It's this Jihad for all the shit I give him. He's somehow has just made these wonderful wins. It reminds me of when I was in the division with Dustin. If you remember that, I was just as triggered because he was the 1 seed, and Dustin, if you're listening, you're a wonderful friend, and I love you, and I can't wait to be celebrating your wedding with you. But your team was terrible that year, and you were the 1 seed, and you just kept on ringing off these like fantastic wins, and the math was going crazy. And lo and behold, he got like destroyed in the playoffs. But I mean, same thing where like now it's like if you just get a good schedule, this can happen. So I mean, we'll take it on the chin if it happens. Process will do what it will do, but he does get James Conner and David Montgomery back soon. Um, that's
Well,
not great for
Montgomery might
me.
play this week,
And
right?
CD Lamb has become the fucking greatest wide receiver on the planet. This dude, do you see the shit that CD Lamb's doing?
Yeah, yeah. It's
CD
remarkable.
Lamb, CD Lamb, long are the days. Remember when
Catches
like
150
Andy
yards last
and
3
all those dudes were
games.
saying they didn't think people were saying that CeeDee Lamb couldn't be an alpha wide receiver one. That dude is fucking awesome, and he is now broken out, and his schedule the rest of the year is awesome. So, Jihad, as much as I give you shit, your team's very much a threat. Even though you're starting fucking Trevor Lawrence and Minshew, your team's still a threat. And now the biggest thing that I think also is that Joe Mixon now plays for an elite offense. First half of the year, he was for a turd offense. Now he's someone getting 100% of the snaps on an elite offense because now Joe Burrow's healthy and that offense is fucking booming. So,
Joe Burrow's playing lights out football.
I think me and Jihad and I are very live right now, unfortunately. So we'll have to, and I'm going to eat a big L against him in week 13 too because my entire team's on bye. So,
well, that could prove to be a
we're
big
just going to
deal.
do it the best that we can. ANF.
Holy
Oh
shit!
no, for sure.
Your
I mean,
entire team is on bye. What the fuck?
It's a smart move. Curn,
Oh, big time.
I would always
I'm
joke
not
about
playing
it
it that
past
way.
years and say, like, the top 4 teams always make the playoffs after like 5-7 weeks. I wouldn't be shocked if the top 4 teams all missed the playoffs this year. With the way the schedule turned out, it's a crapshoot there. Any of the top 7 teams could easily make playoffs. You could have Dustin over there at 5-4 in the 8 seed right now sneak into the playoffs if he just gets hot. We are in for a hell of a
What if
finish.
could you imagine a playoff where it's K. Cole, Dustin, Jihad, and Monstar?
I mean, go Neil instead of Jihad. It'd be the least watched playoffs ever.
Ratings through the floor.
Respectfully to everybody, no one's watching that shit. Everyone's watching like table tennis.
Everyone wants to watch Curn lose. Speaking of Curn losing, Curn, what is your thought about? And we can group them together, but I specifically want to ask you about Puka, but Cooper Kupp as well going forward.
I mean, we've learned that when you have, I don't even know the dude's name, Chad Rippin, whatever his name is.
Brett
Rippin, yeah.
When you have that guy throwing the ball ANF, I mean, no one is eating. No one's cooking, as I said. So we know
Thank God they got Wentz to be the
when,
backup if Stafford gets hurt again.
Yeah, I mean, look, like they didn't put him on IR. From what I hear on Twitter and everything, there's no torn tendon in his thumb. Apparently, it's like a pain management thing. They're not really that great right now. I mean, smart move would be to kind of shut it down, but they're kind of in a position where they could just ride it out for the fans
And they're in the
put him out there.
NFC.
I mean,
You never know.
And they have Cooper Kupp, and they're in the NFC. So I think to Lippy's sentiment, I think Carson Wentz is very capable. Last year, he lit up the NFL for a few weeks. He's got enough weapons to really have some fun. So I think Puka's shown that he's not just a facade, and Puka's awesome. I mean, Cooper Kupp, we know, is awesome. The target share goes to those two alone. So I think, I'm realistically, or I'm like, reasonably optimistic, I guess. I mean, I'm expecting it to get better. It hasn't been good the last few weeks, so I don't think it can get worse.
We're going to roll out Brett Rippin again in Week 11 if Stafford was somehow hurt. I'd be devastated right now to have Kupp and Puka.
Yeah. I'd be so sad.
They would just be keepers for next year and shots for next year. It'd be over.
But
the fact they have Wentz as a security blanket makes you feel a lot better. It's like having Gardner Minshew as the security blanket for AR5.
Wentz can throw an NFL pass, and he can throw far. And that's like kind of
Brett Rippin cannot.
Yeah.
No, Brett Rippin is like basically throwing one of us out there.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I will say they're definitely not going to shut it down. They're 2 games behind the 49ers, and they because of that they're also just 2 games behind being the 2 seed in the NFC. The conference is that bad. So
yeah, it is. That's shitty.
It's really bad.
It's live ANF.
Now,
we like the targets. We look at the targets that Puka and Cooper got, and they're still getting peppered. So good times.
Now let's go back a little ways since our last daily episode, and it's November 7th. Let's go back to a trade and just start from there on October 7th. Curn, I want it. It's been a month exactly at this point from when you traded away Calvin Ridley, Jerome Ford, Zay Flowers, and acquired Stephon Diggs and Jalen Warren. What are your thoughts about the trade now? I imagine it's pretty rosy. I can't imagine you really regret that one, do you?
I mean, I feel pretty warm and fuzzy about it for sure. I think I not a whole lot to say or dissect about it. I think Zay Flowers, unfortunately, he's doing well, but I think just given
The
I could
offense
go
is
off a
really
ton of
weird.
the reasons. The offense. So my theory, not to go on a total tangent, is Lamar hasn't been healthy for a full season. Like I don't think ever. Like maybe like his rookie year or year two, but he's
Yeah,
always gotten banged up. So the way they're playing right now is like if I'm a lame jack owner and I am in like several leagues, it's not great because I think they're just going to continue to keep him untouched for the next like if they go up by 2 scores, I don't think he throws a pass. I think they're just going to hammer the ball, do small dump offs. I don't think they want him that active for until like the lead up
until
to the
playoffs.
postseason. But
Yeah,
yeah, so I mean,
Kurt.
trade room was he wanted to make sure Zay Flowers was a part of it, which I could understand. We were all really high on him. He could still break out, but I mean, Calvin Ridley's not looking too terrible right now. I mean, he's past his
Oh,
bye week and
please.
he's. I mean, yeah. I don't
There's no
know. I mean,
spinniness.
I'm
It's
sort
a
of a weird
smash
believer
yes
about the
then.
whole.
It's a smash yes now. Come on. It's
Yeah.
okay.
It,
It's okay to say it.
it's
It was just a
it's a
smash yes
smash
then for
yes
you.
then smash yes.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, we can move on.
well, let's move on to the next trade. That is a bit of a blockbuster between Lippy and Monstar. Uh,
Oh.
Lippy acquires, and it's funny just seeing how many pieces have moved. Uh, it's Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Jonu Smith, excuse me, and Jerry Judy go to Lippy. Lippy trades away Evan Ingram, Cortland Sutton, Christian Watson, and Devon A-Chain. This, of course, happened, I believe, the evening before A-Chain went to the IR, or
Morning of, yeah,
the
something like
morning
that.
of, yeah.
Very well timed.
Yeah,
Very well timed.
Not like Adams has done anything though, but yes.
yeah. Yeah, so this really kind of has been a kind of a wet fuse of a blockbuster, if anything. I mean, it's been very mild, actually, in its overall repercussions.
I mean, ultimately, you look at it, you're like, well, Monster kind of won that, but at the same time, Watson's kind of and obviously didn't expect it when the trade was made. He kind of a roster clogger there. You're not going to drop him, but do you really want to start Watson right now?
Yeah, you can't drop him,
And
but can you start
No,
him?
he's terrible.
Engram, as nice as Engram's been, and it's hard to kind of talk shit, but ultimately, you want your tight end either to score nothing or a few points, or go off for a bunch of points for you. And Engram just kind of sits there at the 7-point range, and sure, it's nice to see, but it's not really what you want out of your tight end at the end of the day. I don't know.
It beats a 0-point sandwich, but this
I'd rather have that with a higher upside than sit there and just chill with 6-7 points. I don't.
But most of the
That's
tight
just
ends,
personal preference.
they either score 0 or 2. So I mean that it's okay.
I think Ingram's fun because he has a target share and he's not going to like bust your tight end spot, but
Yeah.
he doesn't get red zone touches. He doesn't get red zone touchdowns, and he's not ever going to catch he's not going to go off for like 200 yards or have like the Kelsey game. But I mean, looking at it, I mean, I think, at the time he was having a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
So it's a very shitty trade, honestly. Both sides, just kind of a lot of shittiness.
I'm looking at it right now, and I think if you look at it side by side and do cross cancellation, I think you could probably cancel Jerry Judy and Sutton because, as y'all know, I'm not buying the Broncos offense right now. I mean, Stafford you could probably scrap. I don't think that's too compelling of a piece.
And Johnny Smith know why Stafford was in there. Yeah,
it ends up being Adams for Ingram and really A-Chain. I mean, you could. I mean, Watson, I kind of agree. He's not anyone I'm really happy to start. So, really, it's Adams for Ingram and A-Chain. I think that's kind of fair, probably.
I'd prefer A-Chain right now. Obviously, 4 weeks ago, you're sitting without A-Chain for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Right now, though, I'd probably take A-Chain just alone, straight off the keeper value and the fact, man, that guy's an absolute electric factory on the field.
Is there a percentage doubt in anyone's mind who Monstar is keeping next year? Is anyone scratching their head about that one? Monster, congratulations on A-Chain. We can lock that into the draft board right now.
Yeah, he's gonna be a good team.
Yeah, yeah. Moving on, Curn. This next trade is one of yours and Bevo's.
Oh.
You acquire Josh
This is a
Allen
fun
and
one.
Najee, and you trade away
Oh.
Lamar Jackson and the precious Gibby.
Wow.
Jahmyr Gibbs has been traded. Curn, talk me through your relationship with Jahmyr Gibbs as the season started, as it progressed, and now that you've traded him away.
So, if you look at my portfolio of leagues and my ownership of Gibbs, it is just heavy. I have pushed a lot of chips in the Gibbs basket. And my thought process with this trade was, okay, I've got Stephon Diggs. I need to really decide if I want to aim for the sun. And in my mind, Josh Allen's the greatest fantasy quarterback on the planet. I think he has the ability every week
Other than
to,
CJ Stroud,
I
of
think if you
course,
look at
but
his
yeah.
box score, he had two out of top 10 weeks this year, but otherwise he's like top 8 or better, and he's usually like top 3. I mean, and
Right.
he has the ability to drop like 30 to 40 points on you. Anyway, we all know Josh Allen, and my thought was, Lame Jack, he has some really good blow up games. The risk is that he gets hurt every year, and also he just has the ability to like throw the ball for 100 yards and drop a goose egg. And if you look at the last few weeks, this is kind of what he can do to your team. And the Najee versus Gibbs, in Bevo's phrase, this happened to be a week before Montgomery got hurt.
Right.
Now, we can all speculate, hindsight's 2020, but I think if you go back and you look at what Najee's done over the last few weeks, and you look at what probably would have happened if Montgomery didn't get hurt, I mean, I think best case, they're almost a wash. So, I mean, we'll see what happens this upcoming week. Full disclosure, Gibbs looks awesome. I mean, he's everything I wanted and more. I have him in a few other leagues, and he is delivering exceptionally. But as an owner in those leagues, I'm extremely, I guess, cautiously optimistic, but more apprehensive of what's going to happen now that
Now that Bonnie's back.
this big beefy bell cow that they like is back. I think at the ceiling, I think his ceiling's now cut off. I don't think he's going to have those type of games
Right.
with Montgomery back. I think what it's going to look more like is something more aligned. I mean, I'm not to compare them, but it's going to be very similar to Najee and Jalen Warren, but on a obviously much better
On an
offense. So I
amplified
think he still
scale.
wins the
Yeah.
running back. I think he still wins the running back trade, but I think just me personally comparing Lamar to Josh Allen, I think it's like, I think there's a couple tiers between them. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think this trade is
And
lopsided at all.
and
Argument.
and
Ultimately, it's
honestly,
that.
the other thing I was pushing on,
Yeah.
the last thing I was pushing on was just that playoff schedule. I looked at the playoff schedule at the time, and San Francisco's been kind of shitty lately, but at the time they were kicking ass, and so I was like, Lambjack plays San Fran in the playoffs. I was a few games ahead, and I was like, well, they're gonna play the fucking Chargers on semifinals week. Like, I'm gonna have all this offense on the semifinals. That's gonna be cool. So that was end of argument.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes down to who you personally prefer in that trade. I don't think you or Bevo really walk away from that trade upset at all. I think it really works out for both of you. It is interesting though. We were talking about A-Chain going to be Monstar's keeper. I mean, do you think anyone would be interested in keeping Gibbs for what was it, $48?
Yeah, no chance.
I mean, Kurt, let me ask you, as the guy who drafted him for
Little
that price, would you keep Gibbs for that price?
Bryce.
just I wasn't
If
expecting David Montgomery to be this big of a factor.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's a steep price to keep him for.
It's totally fair. I don't think that's keepable. Because David Montgomery's not going anywhere. Campbell obviously loves him, and why wouldn't he? David Montgomery's been fucking incredible. So I don't think anyone's going to keep Gibbs. That's not a knock against him as a fantasy asset. That's not even a knock against you for drafting him there for Curn, because he's obviously incredibly talented. He can obviously do great things on the football field. Um, I will say, because I have no
Yeah.
fantasy wins to speak of. You know what's hilarious is I have more wins in Fuckfest than I do in Apex. What what I will say is that I think this really worked out the way I thought it would in terms of Montgomery's usage, and it's not a knock against Gibbs as a talent. It's just this is going to be kind of a bog and a quagmire. But
Yeah, no,
we'll know a
you
lot
called it. You
more.
called it.
We'll know a lot more this week, I think.
If
If
You
I
have a
may
better.
though about Lamar real quick, I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
Curn, about them wanting to kind of watch him and all that stuff. As someone who's obviously been very invested in Gus Bus the last couple weeks, every Gus touchdown is just Lamar getting tackled 2 yards away. The first touchdown last week, Lamar rushed to the right end for 9 yards, tackled at the 4. Next play, Gus runs it in. The next touchdown, let's see here. Oh, Lamar to the left guard for -1 yards, penalty. Gus runs it in. So it's Lamar's still getting those carries there in the red zone, but ultimately your play was just on the ceiling of Allen being that ceiling of just an
I mean,
absolute
the
game breaker,
Ravens are
which
good.
it has.
The Ravens are
Oh
good.
no, for
They're
sure.
7-2, and they're not.
There's a reason. There's a reason I paid $27 for Lamar
Yep.
Jackson. Like I think that with the new
Yep.
offensive coordinator and the weapons, I thought that he had. That's why I also leaned into that correlated bet and took Zay Flowers. Is like, look, if I'm gonna spend all my fab on Lamar
So
Jackson,
mean.
I'm obviously betting that Zay Flowers is going to be awesome too. So I just leaned into it fully, and it started out really well. And I think he is like, look, like Lamar Jackson's fucking awesome, but this is just what comes with him. Like I've owned him before, and he's going to have weeks where he's going to drop like 40 points, and he's going to look like he does it extremely easily.
Yeah.
But there's going to be games where if they're up by 2 scores, you look at how many. I mean, he just has such volatility with his passing and his passing touchdowns. But those weeks where he throws like multiple touchdowns, it is just chef's kiss.
It's
So
cash. Yeah. So
big fan of Lamb Jack.
Oh,
I think it's a lot of fun.
what is?
but they are becoming more willing to give Gus and those carries in the red zone, which is scary for that ceiling. So it's understandable.
Yeah. What
And then
is?
your play also was to lock up
But
that Steelers backfield because you did have Warren at that point, and Warren looked a lot very involved there,
yes,
which was a
for
noble
sure.
play there
Yeah.
and was a logical move.
Yeah. What
And you
is?
also had the nice
Yeah,
move.
just in case one of them goes down.
Well, and we'll get to the next trade probably. I mean, the Chuba for Moss trade. That's a beautiful
Yeah.
trade for you right now.
But before we get to that trade, I will say that just on an NFL note, we have probably maybe the worst primetime game in the history of the NFL this Thursday of Carolina and Chicago.
Oh gosh.
But next week
It,
is Ravens and Cincinnati. Uh,
and
so
then Sunday Night Football is Eagles Chiefs. Absolute treat of primetime next week.
yeah, that's going to be special. So the next trade is actually between Lippy and Jonah.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
So this is Lippy acquires Amari Cooper, Patrick Mahomes,
Oh,
Aaron Jones, George Kittle, AJ Dillon, trades away Christian McCaffrey and Kyler Murray, which is just this is the circles we run in are so funny. So Lippy, do you want to talk about this trade now, or do you want to talk about this morning's trade when we get there? Do you want to talk about them all at
talk
once?
about the morning when we get there. I mean, let's just go in order.
Okay.
I smashed yes. Jonah sent it to me. I accepted in 10 seconds.
Okay.
It was a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
I'm a big Amari fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was the question mark around Watson at the time, but I mean, I don't know if Watson looks healthy. Amari looks awesome. Jones looks healthy. He looks awesome. I'm a happy camper, consider all things considered with that trade.
Yeah. I think this, in my opinion, works out for both teams. Obviously, it doesn't matter at all because we've completely shifted the landscape, but I think this works out for both parties.
Yeah, this trade in
Ultimately,
a nutshell,
yeah.
I think is pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes, Amari, Jones, Kittle. I mean, those are every week starters for any team.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and skip to y'all's next trade. Wow, that's funny. The next two are between you and Jonah. So, God damn it. You acquire Rasheed Rice and Cooper Cup. Trade away AJ Brown, Jerry Jeudy, and Eli Mitchell. Now, Lippy, this one might hurt, or at least in my estimation. Obviously, You have no idea what's going to happen to Stafford. You're making a play on the fact he comes back, looks great. This one, you have no way of knowing. Probably stings a little bit now.
Ultimately, that's more just a play on. I really like Rashee Rice. I like what's happening there. I like the vibes that we're getting. I don't know. I like the trade ultimately. I don't think keeping a guy who just caught 125 yards in 8 straight games and I got the joy of it is going to keep happening. It might, considering Goddard's out, but that's not something I'm going to buy into, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't
That's something
know if it
I
will.
ever have. I don't know.
You can't fault someone for thinking that way. At the same time, AJ Brown might just do it this year, but
He might. He really might. Ultimately, I really like Rashee Rice, and I like Cup still.
that could
Obviously,
end up being a keeper. Actually, Rashee Rice could end up being a keeper.
yeah. I don't know. Hindsight, though, considering the other trades I made, because Rice is now relegated to my bench, I'd rather probably have AJ Brown at the end of the day. But hey, hindsight's 2020.
What were you saying, Kurt?
I like the trade at the time, just given the correlated push of like I have Mahomes. Let's lean into it. Let's get another piece of the puzzle and like really lean into them, like throwing the ball a fuck ton.
Yeah.
I like that piece. I like buying Cooper Kupp low. I mean, yeah, I maybe would have tried to like fund a nice narrative of like here's Devontae Adams and like I don't know someone else just so I could keep that because AJ Brown's playing out of his fucking mind right now. It's like there's like they're selling high and then there's like this player has transcended into like a realm of like dominance and like the connection they have and like I don't know. We could talk about AJ Brown all day. It is. I think he's
awesome.
going to continue to catch touchdowns.
It's just not something I've ever done. I always sell those players. I always will. I'm not going to keep trying to start a player after I've had 8 straight weeks of 125 yards. And I got AJ Brown for such a nice deal. I don't know. That's just not something I ever do. I understand what you're saying. I sold CMC. I sold AJ Brown. It's just the games I play at the end of the day.
Yeah. The next trade was Geno Smith for Fab with Jonah.
So that was a play on just I wanted Geno Smith versus Washington.
Yeah.
I was happy. I mean, one Fab. Fuck yeah, give me that all day.
So
yeah, that's fine.
We're gonna move on now. This trade is much, well, it's pretty much the same time as the Geno trade, but just yesterday we have Hollywood Brown. Lippy acquires and trades away George Kittle. Lippy, how are you feeling about that one? You've had at least 24 hours to mull that one over.
I mean,
your thoughts?
That was fairly straightforward. I just went to Neil. I said, you have too many wide receivers. You're not going to start them every week. Looks like you need a tight end. I noticed Curn had 3 tight ends, and probably could get one for Fab. I mean, Komet's not the worst tight end to have in the world.
Yeah.
So I figured, why not make a play on Hollywood Brown? We all know what he was last year at the beginning of the year with Kyler, and it was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So why not make a play on that? I could have Hollywood to go with Amari. Those are 2 nice receivers, and then I have Kupp and Adams. If they return to form, that's a formidable foursome right there.
Very well. I think it's a good trade. You summed it up nicely with your explanation to Neil, which is true. He's got a lot of great receivers. You can't start them all.
And then he's got the 3 running backs. So he was always gonna have someone on the bench. And then like Kern's gonna say, when everyone's healthy, someone's not gonna do well. Granted, Kittle could do well, but ultimately someone's gonna be left out of that equation. And sadly, it's Kittle a lot of the time.
Yeah, Brock Purdy's not good enough to maintain that many weapons.
Yeah.
And Debo's probably healthy now, and Ayuk's obviously healthy.
Yep. I still like the trade for Neil, but obviously I like it for you too.
I thought it was a no-brainer for Neil. I mean,
oh yeah, no, it was a good system of moves. I think because then you leaned into the Kyler Murray trade, which makes sense to me now, and got a new tight end. I think you did a lot of good flipping and chip pushing in good directions.
Because
I didn't think that trade was going to happen, but obviously it did come together very quickly today.
So, yeah, last trade you did yesterday. We've had a string of Lippy trades here. Was between Lippy and Curn. Obviously, just commit for Fab. That's very simple. And then today, this morning, uh, Kyler Murray, James Williams in to Lippy's lineup. Patrick Mahomes and Gus Edwards out. Uh, I don't think anyone's gonna, or at least my thought is I don't hate this trade for either of you. Um, if I'm being completely honest, I mean no offense, Joe. Like I said, you can't be unhappy with that trade. I actually like the Lippy side of this trade. I think Javante is going to be awesome. I think he's just going to keep getting better. I also think I don't know. I think Kyler's really good at fucking football, and like I was telling Lippy before we started recording, I really don't know the points per game difference fantasy wise between Kyler and Patrick Mahomes.
It's a difference, but it is buying into the Kyler, yes. It's buying into the Javante. I obviously caveated it before saying you guys wouldn't like it, and I'm not surprised some didn't. I obviously can see how some people wouldn't like that trade.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
I don't dislike it. I actually like it a lot. And again, Jonah, I think it's good for you too, but I think I just kind of lean more towards the Lippy side. I don't think anyone got jammed. You know what's crazy? I don't think we've said anyone really got jammed in any of these discussions. So good job on the jam factories keeping them honest. Um, but yeah,
yeah.
I don't know, Kurt.
Everyone's getting a
What are your
little more
thoughts on
sharp.
this? I know you've kind of had a developed kind of ongoing thought process with this trade.
Yeah, I just I don't know too detailed what happened to Kyler Murray's knee, but like I know there was a question this year that he may not even play. And then like I kind of looked into it, and what makes him so special is his ability to be mobile. And so like when you have a quarterback coming back off the pup with a very intense situation like that, like their knee, it's
Yeah.
like, and then their biggest threats now removed, and their passing weapons are Hollywood Brown and Randall Moore, whatever his name is, and that fucking rookie or that one
Michael
tight
Wilson,
end,
fuckfest
Chad.
extraordinaire.
Yeah. Yes, I think that there is. I mean, look, he could come out this week and totally just like show like, look, I'm 110%. I'm fighting to show y'all why you're not going to fucking try to go get Caleb Williams, blah, blah, all that shit. But I mean, I think that was my initial drawback was just like, you're selling the you're selling the best quarterback on the planet, maybe not fantasy, but just someone who has the capacity to throw multiple touchdowns and be in the conversation of high scoring games. And a guy and a really solid running back, I think, overall. But now that I've come around and see it,
Let's not let's not act like
because
Gus
he has a
Bus is
Hollywood
anything.
ranking.
Let's not
I
act
don't
like
know, dude.
no, 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 no.
I think they're gonna run the ball a lot. I think they're gonna run the ball a whole lot. I love Michael Keaton. I love that meme, but I think that I think it's gonna be Gus and Justice Hill just having a good time, and I think that yeah, I don't know. I think he's fine. I wouldn't mind having
I don't
Mr.
know.
Gus Bus. I mean, I think
I mm,
So
I'm
my
happy to not have Gus
I
Bus on the
like your
squad anymore.
I,
I like your argument for Javante Williams. I guess
Oh,
I
I
just
think I think
really
he's a
am still
smash for the rest of the
sour
season.
on the Broncos.
I don't care
Yeah,
though. That's the thing.
I think
I really don't care about the Broncos. It's a Javante play, and I like Javante. I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, he's getting a lot of
the
touches now.
part of the reason I just don't care about Gus at all is just because I I mean you have no idea which running back is going to get those touchdowns week to week. Or at least that's my estimation. There's just no way of knowing. Um, like you know, let those touchdowns could just as easily go to Lamar, kind of like Lippy was saying. I don't want
Could have,
there's
and then he would have had five. And he would have had 5 carries.
yeah that's what I'm saying. Like there's no way of knowing who those touchdowns are going to, and that just makes me really
I think
scared.
that's fair.
Just because I mean, and then it comes down to like, okay, well, so I really like Javante versus Gus, and then my own personal estimation, I could be dead wrong, and and like Curran said, I'm now actively saying that you don't have an advantage with the best football player in the world right now. But for me, like I would take the trade all day. Like I just don't think the points per game for Mahomes over Kyler is really going to make a difference. Like we've seen Kyler and Hollywood dominate. James Conner's coming back. I mean, Trey McBride, as much as I like made fun of him last year, turns out to be decent at football. Like, there's enough pieces there for Kyler to get it done. And yeah, like they're not gonna be the best scoring offense in the league. I think the Cardinals are gonna lose a lot of games. I would also argue that's probably good for Kyler game script. Like, yeah, sure, he's probably going to be behind a lot. I think it probably works out. I like the trade for Lippy. Jonah, I'm very biased against certain teams' running backs. Baltimore's one of that. So if you're listening to this and think I'm a hater, like that's just I totally acknowledge that I've got my own little notions against that, and you could whoop my
Yeah.
ass this week as a result. But um, I, I don't know. I don't hate the trade for Jonah, but I really like
We
it.
had
I'm
the
not
talk.
too.
We had the talk earlier in the year about studs, right?
Yeah.
End of day, I have Aaron Jones, who looks like he might be back getting 25 touches from the Packers. I don't care how bad we suck.
That's a big Mike,
You have
though. Big Mike.
Javante getting his touches.
Yeah.
You have Hollywood. You have, I don't know. If my team hits, I have a lineup just full of studs, and then Cole Kmet. I'll take it all day. I'm a happy camper.
It is just so wild because of how how your beautiful fantasy mind works, Lippy, that this team used to have Bijan and CMC on it. And that feels like a different fantasy year.
The Bijan zag
I
was
can
a
talk
nice
about it.
zag.
Yeah.
Bijan is so. Oh, we didn't talk about the Bijan trade. That Bijan trade, Lippy, with fucking Jack. Not to look back in hindsight, that is.
Oh, it was a
What a
no-brainer.
fucking
It was an
force.
absolute no-brainer.
Oh
Absolute
my
no-brainer.
God. Oh, you got fucking aches and pains and AJ Brown for Bijan and George Pickens. Holy fuck! That's actually a fucking jam. That's a triple stack pancakes deep fried with Oreos and Nutella fucking juju jam.
I'm sure if
Poor
Jack
Poor
was
Bijan.
here, he would also bemoan this trade. Pickens is.
Would you rather have? Here's a question: would you rather have the prospect of Gibbs or Bijan right now going forward?
Fuck Bijan.
Bijan Robinson is losing touches in the red zone to Jonnu Smith.
I'll just.
What the
I don't
fuck
want
is
any.
happening?
It was a simple trade, honestly. I just didn't want any part of that offense. I really don't. Arthur Smith
Yeah.
can fuck off.
Dude, he's hard.
That's a hard. I think I would still want Bijan there, but
No,
I agree that it's difficult. I would still want Bijan with, but obviously that could change. Like if we have this week and Monty comes back, or after 2 weeks and Monty's not the same guy he was at the beginning of the season, like then maybe not maybe it is different. But I would still have Bijan right now, given what we saw with how Gibbs worked with Montgomery earlier.
Why Jack should trade Bijan, but he won't because he loves Bijan.
We all have those players. So speaking of a trade that I fucking hate, is the trade I did with Golly. And Lippy has made it to where I will never be able to reverse this and get him back. James Cook, I fucking hate that guy. And I actually don't hate him, but Buffalo play calling blows. I hate Buffalo play calling. The way they use running backs is infuriating. I'd rather start a toaster than James Cook. I think I'll probably if Khalil Herbert's back this week, I might bench him.
It made sense at the time, but yes, Devontae Smith absolutely. But even then, Devontae hasn't done that much. It's just without Goddard, Devontae's such a smash now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna.
He's gonna have some fun times.
Yeah, but there was no way back then of knowing Goddard was going to be out. But I've hated how they've used James Cook because he's actually really good. Is my thing. It's like before I'm like, oh, like he's all right. I actually think he's really good at football, and he's just not getting the work. But I knew that. I knew that that's what Buffalo did. We saw how many years of them do this with running backs. I mean, ever since C.J. Spiller, I mean, this is just what they do,
Eldon.
and yeah, exactly. Like it's just always a clusterfuck, and I regret the trade a lot. Golly, you fucking got me. I also I
But like,
also
it's tough. Huh?
really
Also,
thought I also really
well,
really
the
thought,
Bills.
and this will make me look even more dumb. I really thought Jameson Williams was gonna be a force. I really thought
that
he was
that
just
was
gonna
never
be
gonna
awesome.
happen.
That I know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I look
Oh,
like a moron now, but I
oh,
really
hang
thought
on,
that was
hang
gonna
on,
be
hang on.
huge.
I'm looking at it now, and I honestly forgot he was even a piece of the trade. I forgot he was still on your roster. That dude is fucking awful. He is a total bust. He likes to gamble, and he's yeah no
And he likes
he
to
he can
draw
happily
passes
be
more than
fucking cut.
anything. Um, yeah,
They
I'm not.
just signed fucking, or they just traded for fucking Donovan People Jones. It's
Yeah,
over.
yeah. It is over. It is over. That's a huge
But
bummer.
the, the problem with James Cook is just that the Bills, while they give me lots of fun fantasy points, they just haven't been that great of an actual real life team. So
No,
like
they haven't.
they like start out slow. They start out slow. The game script's fucked. Then you have like, I mean, for me, it's wonderful. Like I get to watch Josh Allen throw a pick, scramble, struggle, flail for like 2 quarters, and then like
And
he's
then
just
just
running
throw
around like a
darts
chicken
to
with his head cut
Stephon
off.
Diggs.
Just playing backyard football, and it's awesome. But like the counterpart is like nobody's getting carries, and no one's really doing anything else.
Yeah, yeah. I watched one drive of their game this past week. Um, I think I watched a drive where they didn't run the ball like a single time. There were no carries, and I'm just like sitting there as the James Cook owner with my dick in my hand, going like, oh, well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's cool. Word. Um, and but I hope they keep doing it. I hope they keep on being fucking dumb. They somehow have the second highest point differential in the league, but you know what? The Texans are a game behind them. And if that isn't a wake up call, I don't know what to tell you. By the way, can we just say Bulls on parade? If anyone's listening wants to join the Texans bandwagon, please hop
Fucking
on.
go! That's a win. That's a fucking win.
Got
Let's go, golly.
yeah. So Lippy's obviously not talking about a Fortnite dub that he just got with Golly. He's talking about, of course, the Texans dub with the best quarterback in history. That is C.J. Stroud, of course. Uh, Boy, what a fella he is. Oh, I want to start him over Joe Burrow really badly, but I
Yeah,
can't.
dude.
Mm,
Uh, he's very good. ANF. You've got the outs for 2 stacks right now.
yeah,
And guess what? Guess what's really funny? If this were a super flex league, you could have a
I
double
don't. I
cream, triple
don't
Oreo
care.
stuff
I
stack.
don't want
Just have them both.
Superflex Curn. You cannot speak this into my ears.
ANF, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Could you imagine a fucking Sunday afternoon? You get like a Tank Dell 40-yard touchdown pass followed by a Jamar Chase. Dude, I've seen it. It's fucking ridiculous.
um.
It turns a matchup where you're down themselves. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
Anyway, the last I'll talk about it, but yes, you do have 2 stacks.
Yeah. Yeah. So in an Apex,
Is he a
I've
keeper?
got Nico Collins.
Draft Stroud?
Stroud is not a keeper. No. No. I picked him up off waivers
Oh, that's not
for
fun.
nothing. For $1 off waivers.
And
But
he's got the same. He has the same bye week as Burrow, and he's just on your bench, just
yeah,
chilling.
yeah, exactly. He's just there.
He's just part of the crew.
Yeah. So I've got him in like every league. Like I think every league that is not best ball, I've got him in. Surprisingly, or perhaps not. Unsurprisingly, I should say, every league I started him in, I won. So, dynasty leagues did very well this week. Uh, Really interesting. Really interesting because I've got him and Nico in this league. I've got him and Tank in most other leagues, but um, gonna be a really fun offense. It's a great time to be a Texans fan. Let me ask y'all about
30
you
of 42. 30 of 42. That's crazy.
with no picks, no picks. Um,
He's for 30 touchdowns and 2 picks. Absolute, just wild.
It's a
rookie,
good
rookie.
time to be a Texans fan. ANF.
It is. Let me ask y'all about y'all's respective teams. Curn, let's start with the Saints. Um, what's going on in Saints land? You'll have obviously, decent week this week, but y'all are in the NFC. Y'all are currently leading your division. You're a game up in the division. Um, I it's a little early, and
Yeah.
I know things have been rocky. Are you planting the flag and calling a Saints playoff appearance? How far are y'all going in the playoffs? What are your thoughts?
Look, Mickey Loomis in the front office, you know what they love? They love NFC South Division swag. They love the merch. You can see any year of NFC Division South conference, divisional champion shirts. They're everywhere. I've got one from one year. We just fucking love flexing around the fucking South over here. So that's what they love. So we're gonna get that probably. We'll have our fucking 2023 NFC South Division champs. We're gonna be fucking hooting and hollering about it. We're going to stroll right into the playoffs, and
Just
assume the Eagles will have a bye week.
get
Assume the
shit
Eagles
on
have
by
a
the
bye week, so we'll
Lions.
probably play like the Lions. Yeah, we'll go play the Lions at their home, and it's going to be just like they're just going to fucking beat us down, like that scene in Marvel when the Hulk is just slamming that guy back and forth on the ground. That's what's
Yeah.
going to happen. But we'll have our NFC South champion shirt, and that will be that. So we'll probably do that for like 2 years, and then I don't know, ANF. This is just the way we live. And who knows? Maybe. And what you're hoping for is you're hoping for a real clean like Taysom Hill like 3 touchdown game. Like you could see some weird magic. I don't know. Anything could happen. Any given Sunday ANF. Who knows? It could be fun. It's just fun right now. It's honestly fun being a fan because there's no expectation. We know it's all pretty mid. You have like Dennis Allen, you have like Taysom Hill and like Derek Carr who's like pissed off and triggered, and like Michael Thomas who's like kind of being mediocre, like but we're somehow winning, and like we're like surrounded by a bunch of other turds who like aren't winning. So I mean, I don't know. It's like kind of fun. So I mean, I, like I don't feel any uneasement or like you know lingering doom, I guess, about it. Like it was worse when we had Drew Brees and we had all our chips pushed in the pot, and it was like, okay, Drew Brees is on a ticking clock. He has to fucking get back there, and just we kept getting just smashed by misery and just like gut checks. Like this
Yeah.
is just like we're broke. We're playing with house money. We're doing like special teams, like special reverse wildcats with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is playing almost like half the quarterback snaps. What the
Yeah.
fuck are we doing? It's
I
ridiculous.
really don't
And
know.
so yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of fun.
I mean, you'll have to love the Sean Payton trade because y'all got the first last. You get a second this year's draft. Um, let me
Yes.
ask you this because I kind of I don't think I really dived into this when we had Dear King Hoot on the podcast. And obviously you're not a monolith, but what are your thoughts and what are Saints fans' thoughts in general of Sean Payton at this point?
I mean, it's different sentiments. I mean, some people think that he came here. I mean, we we gotta remember that we got him, and then he went out and got Drew Brees, and that was like a shot in the dark, and like he happened to work out. It wasn't like he came to join Drew Brees and like lead that brigade. Like would he have stayed as long without Drew Brees? Who knows? But there is a little bit of a sentiment that like when Tom Brady, and not to compare Drew Brees to Tom Brady, but just when Tom Brady left, Bill Belichick kept on staying the ship, and he's riding that ship. And for all the hate Bill Belichick gets, he's still like he's standing by his fucking team, and he's standing by his fucking
His process,
sandcastle that
yeah.
he built, and the wave. Yeah, like the waves are washing it over, and it's looking rough, and they're probably the worst team in the AFC right now, arguably,
They are
which
they
is
are record
weird to
wise,
say. And
yeah.
yeah, it's terrible. And I mean, but I do have a little more respect for that. And it's like, I mean, but the fact that like he did leave, but the fact that like he wanted to come back and go to the Cowboys if they're a super team at the time, and like then he's like wanted to be a snag about like what team he was in. Like he kind of treated his whole fucking signing like a free agency, and like
Yeah, it was LeBron
we took
James the
advantage of it.
decision.
Obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a little ridiculous, and I kind of hammed it up because obviously, I had to ham it up. But in the
Right.
back of my mind, I was kind of like, "This is fucking ridiculous! Like, why are we all bending over backwards for like a 6-year old QB or like old fucking like coach who has a good resume, but like also has like a Hall of Fame quarterback for the last like 15 years. Like we don't really know what he's like without Drew Brees, and we're sort
And
of
an
seeing
amazing defense,
kind of what it might look like.
you know.
Yeah, in a very competent front office. I think like now you have the Broncos, which I think they have a competent front office to an extent, but I think like
I don't
yeah,
know
like
if
it's
they
just
have a
all really
competent front
bad.
office. They've been a clusterfuck of a front office. There's been a lot of turnover there. I mean, they probably have new people in there every week. Um, and
Yeah, I
I,
guess I'm really just hanging up on
Picks.
Elway. I guess
Getting
maybe I'm putting too
picks
much
for Sean
pressure on
Payton
him.
is just beautiful.
it's hilarious.
Beautiful.
It's hilarious.
Oh,
It's ridiculous.
it was pretty
The
much.
Saints made out like bandits.
But $3 million for Derek Carr in 2 years for that cap hit, that's also hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's gonna be funny when we finally do just say, okay, let's just like push it all in. Let's like get a roster. Like it's gonna be the worst roster ever assembled. We're gonna be like vintage. We might make something of it and like bring out the bags and like go back to like vintage like 1970s like Saints football. But like that will even that's kind of fun because it's like like I've done enough Dynasty now where it's like at least there's like a sense of like rebuilding and like you're moving in a direction. It's like so as long
Curn,
as we're
that's
not
where the Packers
stagnating,
are right now, and it's not fun. We have, I
no,
think,
it's
40,
probably not
50 million in
fun.
dead cap. We essentially are just saying, fuck this season. Let's just let the young guys play. It could be more fun.
See, that's where the Texans were last
Probably
season,
not
and
fun.
now it is really fun. But I think if you don't hit Stroud, then it's not fun to be a Texans fan this year. It fucking sucks. So, but I do get what Kern's saying though. There are fun pieces on the Saints to watch. There's fun potential that you can play around with, at least in your head.
We're a little scrappy. Like we're a scrappy mediocre team, but we're scrappy and it's fun. We have a really crazy fan base and
In a
like
shitty
we're
division.
doing wild shit to stay relevant. We're in a really bad division. So the so in conclusion, the vibes really aren't that bad. Like around the whole city, people are still like we're almost just surprised we're even still like kind of in it. So it's like hey, like let's have
Division
fun.
leaders. Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Now,
Crazy shit.
Lippy, y'all are not in a shitty division. Y'all are in a good division.
It would appear so.
What are vibes in Packertown? Because it started off pretty fucking awesome. Like it started off like holy shit, Jordan Love is the goddamn man. Is Jordan Love the goddamn man?
It's maybe not. It's tough. It's tough to just kind of let it happen and just kind of see what happens at the end of the day. We have a lot of picks. We have 2 seconds and 2/3 this year. We got a lot of good stuff that we have, and we can just have a nice draft. We got a lot of young players. It's just tough, just waiting. It's really tough waiting, and that's what we got to kind of do right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And it's really just that. We just got to kind of enjoy it for what the season is, and it's not much.
yeah. Dude, let me ask you a question, and I'm not even picking on y'all. Do you think there's any chance y'all make the playoffs? We've said with all these
No.
other teams, y'all are in the NFC. So I just wanted to ask, not even
No
as a
chance.
mock, just wanted to ask. Yeah.
We're just kind of vibing, honestly. Enjoy what we can, see what happens, and hopefully we're gooder next year. It just sucks. You're used to winning. It's hard to kind of accept not winning, and that's what we got to do right now.
Yeah.
And
Let me ask
Jordan
you
Love
a
might not be the
question.
answer.
As the man who have the most information regarding Aaron Rodgers, we're starting to get reports he's throwing 50-yard passes. What the hell?
Yeah, we were scammed.
Yeah.
I am fully of the opinion we got completely scammed. Rodgers might not. I don't know. If he's back 3 months after a torn Achilles and actually playing high level football, we got scammed.
Yeah, but that could certainly be the case.
That'd be so fucking crazy. But he's telling people, he's like telling Pat McAfee people on the show like he'll be back for like week 12. That's insane. That's fucking wild.
There's just I don't know. That first round pick, if he would have played enough
I don't
snaps
think.
this year, we would have gotten a first round pick from the Jets. Instead, he didn't play enough snaps, and it's going to be a
Oh,
second round pick.
that's
So
right.
I feel like we got scammed,
Oh,
but maybe we didn't. I don't know.
God, it wasn't an Achilles tear, but like, if he actually came back, that would just be like. I mean, all kudos to DeMar Hamlin for coming in and watching kick returns good. But if Aaron Rodgers comes back and actually plays NFL football and like wins games, that that'd be fucking insane. That'd
I'd
be.
be very
I mean,
depressed if
I'm
he
not a
came back and got
doctor, but
seriously
like
hurt, though. That'd be the saddest stuff ever if he came back early, just got even
that'd
more
be
hurt.
very sad.
So
Well, I thought his career was. I mean, respectfully, I thought his career was over after
I
that.
thought
I
it
didn't
was
think he
over as
was
well. I
going
thought
to
it
even
was
come
done.
back. He's like,
Also, respectfully, Jordan Love's stats this season are the exact same as Rodgers last season. So, yes, Jordan Love isn't doing
really?
that good, but it's identical, sir. Yards, touchdowns, everything. Literally the whole thing is the exact same. Everyone was saying kind of Rodgers was washed before the season started because of how bad he was last year, which was kind of fair.
Oh yeah.
It's a tough spot.
He also like his heart really wasn't in it though. You could tell he's kind of like I don't know, but that's also just like more like I don't know, like lore, like NFL lore than like actual like stats and like real news.
He didn't have his Devontae Adams in his life. That was a beautiful connection.
Oh, fucking, I don't know, but yeah, like I think even, but yeah, like if he came back and got seriously hurt, that would be awful. But like I think honestly, aside from like his health, like I think like that's just I think he'd be in the same spot. I don't know if he. That's crazy. I thought his career was done. I thought he was just gonna like sit on the sideline, be a motivational guy, and then like I guess he could come back, like maybe come back and play like a few games next year. But like I thought he was gonna play like maybe like a few weeks into the season next year and just be like just have it all look really tough and like it's gonna be a sad thing. But like the Jets are live. They're actually okay. Like they're not like great right now, but they're actually a like solid record. And I don't know. What a wild fucking situation that would be.
What are they, 4-5 right now?
Yeah, I think y'all are 3 wins. Yeah. Or no, they're y'all are at 3 wins. What are the Jets at? The Jets might be at 3 wins too.
I think 4-5.
That they shouldn't be, but they
Yeah, they're
are.
4-5. Holy shit.
So they're still in it. I mean, especially with 7 teams making playoffs.
Yeah, they're
They're 4-4 right now.
they're 4-4.
Oh, 4-4. Whoa.
So bye week.
Yeah. I don't know though. They've got kind of a shitty schedule coming up, so we'll see.
Realistically, I don't think Aaron Rodgers comes back this season. I think that like I don't know why he's telling people he's coming back. That'd be for a 40-something-year-old man to come back after that type of injury.
He says a lot of shit, and we have no idea
That's
if
kind
any
of
of it's
thinking.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
Like throwing passes in pregame warm up to, ball boys is one thing, but like, playing an NFL snap against Aaron Donald is an entire different universe.
And
Yeah.
that line looked horrendous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I just you don't want to see the guy get really hurt if he's back. That's the big key there.
Yeah, that's a
Here's a
mature thing.
question.
What's that?
Here's a fun total pivot just while I'm looking at the rosters. Name the tight ends you would rather have over Dalton Kincaid right now. I think
Obviously
I
the superior
probably would rather.
Dalton Schultz, who plays for the best offense in the league, but other than him,
I
nobody.
think you say Travis Kelce, Hawkinson, Laporta.
Do you say
I mean,
Andrews?
do you say Andrews? Do you confidently say Mark Andrews?
Confidently, no. I'd rather trade down and have
I would rather have
Kincaid in my life.
Andrews than Kincaid. I would.
Absolutely not. I would trade down and have Kincaid in my life.
Kincaid is munching.
Yeah.
Just
No, without a
just
doubt.
munching A&F.
I would trade down on the thought of Andrews and have Kincaid in my life. In
I
a
think you
heartbeat.
get like the same. You get either same, equal to, or even maybe better value with Kincaid just in the offense and just with the volume. And he's getting like red zone like fucking targets and shit, and
The
like those
targets are
red
awesome.
zone Travis Kelsey shuffle passes and shit. It is just. This has been the best surprise of the last 2 weeks. It just fell on my lap. I had no fucking idea it was gonna happen. I thought I was screwed. I thought I was gonna have to flail, starting, streaming, fucking, and honestly, Komet. Honestly, Lippy, I think Komet's gonna be fucking awesome because now he's getting fucking Fields back. So I think he's great too for you. Like he's gonna have a good time. But like I thought I was gonna be flailing with like this weird up and down thing with those two. But man, what a time, A&F. Great times.
I think Tebow's team would be a lot better if he had Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I think my team
That's a
would be
good
a lot
stack.
better if it had Brees Hall and Zay Flowers.
Wow. There's a trade.
Golly, come here. Come on, buddy. Golly, come up here into some.
Ooh, because then you could keep Zay Flowers.
Curn, we have no idea what
Are
we're
you
doing.
really? Are you gonna keep Nico Collins?
I have no idea. I've no
100%
idea.
keeping Nico Collins.
No one's keeping Nico Collins, right?
Yeah, I mean probably
Not
not.
to troll Nico Collins, but like
I mean he's been good. $2. He's the wide receiver 14. Um,
$70 Jamar Chase. I don't know. I think what you're going to see with Jamar. Well, I don't know.
well,
Jamar Chase is still him.
Curn, I don't know. Um, what I do know is this: I'd be real tempted to keep Dollar take Dell. That.
Was he drafted?
Oh yeah, he was. Deal drafted him for $1.
Drafted and kept. I mean, Alexander, if you're trying to keep some guys, Javante for 13, Cup for 19, those are some nice keepers there, sir.
I gotta.
Curn might trade you dollar Puka Cup straight up for Jamar Chase.
Oh really? You would do that for me, Kurt? That's fucking decent of you. Yeah.
I mean, if I was in your position, I'd do that in a heartbeat, Alexander. I'd happily tank for a keeper.
You're laughing. You're laughing about it now, but just a year from now, when we're talking about fucking Cooper Cup as a top 15 draft pick in terms of wide receiver rankings, I mean, not like overall, but it'd be a good time.
Kurt, I'll tell you what. I feel bad. I would probably need to throw in Nico Collins and Khalil Herbert and Kyron into that
You'd have to
trade to make
me.
it okay.
You probably have to give me a little more because
Yeah.
I think that I'm giving you so much.
Yeah, I wish I had some fab to throw in for you as well, but
The fab would help,
unfortunately I don't.
honestly.
Yeah. Well, let me.
You could give me Jameson Williams as like a novelty.
Well, that
Like
that would
the novel.
hurt. That would hurt my side of the scales for the
He
trade.
could be the doorstop to our complex.
I do not know if he can even be used as a doorstop. He'd probably get suspended from that. Let me ask y'all to round it out here. We're into week 10. We're about to start week 10 tomorrow, or Thursday, I should say. Let me ask y'all this, because y'all are very much in the hunt, both of you. Let's start with you, Curn. What are your thoughts to close out here? What are you confident that your team will do, and what are you worried about from the rest of the league?
I mean, I think I've built a team that has a solid ceiling. I think the big scary elephant in the room, if I was the rest of the league, maybe they're not feeling this way, but Justin Jefferson's coming back sooner than later.
Yep.
Just put it on the bank. He's fired up, apparently ready to come back. They just got to make sure he's cleared and healthy. So you add that to the roster, and we are very formidable. So I just have to survive a few more weeks. I need Golly to fucking lose some games. Me winning A&F, like we're at the point now where like, and Lippy can probably speak to it as well, but like it's not like so much you win a game. You winning a game and getting a game on your division mates is like there's a fucking crater between that, like a canyon between the feeling of like you just winning versus like you winning and your division mates losing. Like you have to have it, especially in this format with fucking 3 teams. So feeling pretty good. Jihad's team is getting healthy and he's got players that are on the up, and that's concerning. But overall, I'll stick by my guns. I think the Savage Enterprises makes their, what is it? It'd be like, is this our 10th season? So, I mean, if it is our 10th season, it would be our 8th playoff appearance. I think we have our 8th playoff appearance to going strong. And I think that, so if I'm projecting final players, I think Savage Enterprises, Monstar, Jonah, and I'll give the edge to Lippy. I'll give the edge to Lippy there. I think those are our contenders.
Very
All right.
kind of you, Shaw. Very kind of you.
Thank you, Curn. Lippy, what are you confident that your team is going to do, and what are you worried about with the rest of the league?
Well, I'm gonna be really straightforward with you, sir. We're going 10-5. My squad is.
Okay.
So we're making the playoffs straight up. The rest. It's just Keiko. Keiko's is a tough squad. Good squad. We'll obviously see what happens. I think it's gonna be myself. You bet on the managers, sadly. So gotta say that Curn, sadly, is gonna make the playoffs. And then the last 2 spots, I'm gonna give one to Neil.
Okay. Wow.
A little change of pace. And then I'll go with Neil and Keiko.
Okay. Okay.
I think Monster, if he loses this week, is about to be out of a playoff spot.
Wait, how would Keiko get in?
Keiko, myself, Neil, and you.
Isn't it one from each division, though?
No, Curn.
No.
Curn, it's your league.
There's only
2 automatic bids.
There's only 2 automatic bids. The rest 2 go to best record.
Yes, Curn. We voted on this. We voted on this in the offseason. 2 automatic bids and then 2 wild cards.
Oh, I have. Wow. I won't fight it or contest it or anything because I don't care at this point. But that changes everything. Holy shit! Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yes, Curn. We voted on this.
Is that real?
It's real.
Wow.
Yeah,
my mind is blown.
You were kind of talking earlier, Curn, where I'm like, oh yeah, but I mean, like,
division mates. Okay, sure, Curn. Whatever you say.
It was when you were talking about the Jonah, Dustin Tebow division.
Oh, that takes so much pressure off me. Holy shit!
It really does. That's probably like, Curn, you're gonna be okay.
God, I was stressing my balls off. I was that fucking golly barking at my fucking heels, pissing me off with this bullshit.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It's only 2 AQs.
Yeah, only 2
sir.
AQs.
That's what Jack fought for with these 4-person divisions.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna text the group and just remind them. I'm trusting this. I'm trusting y'all, and they'll see your message. But I'm gonna say just a reminder. It's 2 AQs because I can't be the only one that maybe I just forgot. Maybe I didn't care.
But you forgot. It was Jack's biggest battle when we changed to 4 divisions.
I was going to say, if you don't know, I think the only other 3 people that do are me, Lippy, and Jack. I would be, if Curn doesn't know, I am less than confident in how much other people.
Look, here's all I'm gonna say. All I'm gonna say is because I think because what's going to happen is we'll have to hashtag
Commissioner's going to have to edit some playoff settings.
And if we do that, regardless of anything, it's going to just shuffle a little bit of goon feathers. So all I'm going to ask is as we log off, just go back, look at the records, take screenshots, do whatever you possibly can. I'm certainly not going to push one way or another. I honestly, in all seriousness, boys, I don't really care what the format is. I just don't want IDP. I will play ball in just about any rain, sleet, snow, ice storm, chemical storm. Current's there. So, but I just had no fucking clue. I thought we were just voting on 4 divisions with just that it being what it was.
Curn, I think that's a really good idea. And as commissioner, we should just make that what happens. So I think we just put it to a vote, and 100% of the people just approved of it. So we'll do that going forward.
We need to go back though. Go back and make sure. I may have stipulated like that, but whatever I put in the poll, I'm just going to post it on everybody.
Wow. Have to go check the poll. Baby, Lippy, if Curran doesn't
I don't know what
know,
I put.
maybe the poll doesn't say what we think it says.
100% does. Go look it
Seriously,
up, Curn.
seriously, boys. I thought it was just 4 divisions. Let me make sure. Let me
No
see.
way.
Nope, go look it up, Curn.
Oh my god.
100%
Because
Curn.
look,
Exactly what it says.
I would totally because obviously just being biased that makes my life a lot easier. But official future playoff seating structure.
Okay,
Proposed
no. It
change
does
outline.
4 divisions, 2 AQ, followed by the
Mm-hmm.
next best 2 wildcard teams, regardless of division, just best available.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so it
Wow,
is
my
July
brain,
21st,
my brain is
2023.
Mm-hmm. That was the whole point of the 4
okay.
divisions.
Yeah. It would have been
That's
wild if
so
that was
funny.
just omitted. That would have been
I'm
so
so
funny. Kurt, yeah,
four
you should be
two
very
AQ two best
relieved.
division.
You've been making it way
Wow, you're
hard on
right.
yourself.
No, it's all coming back to me. No, I thought this was literally 4 divisions. There's everyone's gonna get in,
I wish,
and
Kurt.
that was just
I
gonna be it.
wish. I wish. But Jack would never let me
But
have
now
such
I'm
nice things.
remembering. But now I'm remembering that this is what this is all
It,
about. I just
it
completely,
was Jack's whole
I just
fight
honestly didn't care.
was to get rid of the AQs. That's all he wanted, and he essentially did
Whoa,
by doing.
whoa, 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 whoa! Hold on, real quick. Let me look at the fucking. Let's hold on real quick, and then we'll let you boys go. I just want to take a quick look at the weekly report because that shows the power standings. So how does this look? So we have Monstar, K Cole,
Four
me.
listed as right now.
Wait, so I'm like, oh, I'm
You're the 3
great.
seed.
I'm
You're
so
the 3 seed right now, I think.
Oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm so good. I think. Well, I'm not so good, but I'm much better off than I was. I thought I was have to fight with fucking Golly. So even if Golly does stupid shit, I'm still a game ahead of everyone else.
Correct, you are.
Wow, that's fucking crazy. Wait, hold on. So the 2 highest divisions. So what would that be?
Now, right now,
Wait,
that's
it's
Monstar
number
and
one.
K Cole are the 2 top right now. Because Monstar has a win
So
on you. So Monstar and K Cole would
okay,
currently get the.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, revelations, boys.
So,
Holy shit.
so right
I'm
now.
probably the only one who probably doesn't know because I just forgot.
Well, no, Kurt, I mean, I think it might be worth sending a reminder. You could maybe just screenshot. I looked back. It's like July 21st in the poll
I
chat.
saw it. I went back and
Yeah.
saw it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna screenshot and remind everyone and just
Yeah.
say, hey, you'll hear on the pod tonight, but just reminder, revelations. This is how the playoff structure works, and just see if we get any chirps. Because I promise you, they voted on it, but I also promise you, it wouldn't surprise me if 5 of those guys didn't read all of it. And that's their own fault, as we learned throughout all our polls. But just
There's been lots of
it's good to
conversations about
remind the
reading.
folks.
Yeah. But
Yes.
yeah.
Anyway, wow, crazy, good stuff.
Congratulations, Kurt, on a better night's sleep. Yeah.
Ah, I feel so much better. And if I thought I was gonna miss the playoffs because Golly just fucked his way in, and I'd be like 7, or I'd be fucking like 9-6,
Well, so I
and
will say this,
fucking
Kurt,
I don't.
you really need to beat Golly in your next matchup. That would really put a damper
Oh,
on
I
your
still need
plans.
to. Pressure is still the pressure is still on, but like there's a little more of a cushion than I
A
thought.
little
So
room to
anything,
breathe.
much
Yeah.
better. Yes.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. That is going to do it for our show.